complaints.
No.
You're calling in a lot of favors to make the sun happen on the weekends, aren't you?
You know what? We've been doing that lately. That's the reverse of most years, as you know.
Don't waste all your favors.
I know.
All right. CBS Evening News up next, everyone.
I mean, we still need one for the 4th of July.
That's right. I'm running low.
Tonight, the final words from Continental Flight 3407. 2 pilots chatting about their careers and the critical moments before the deadly crash. Are regional pilots getting the kind of training they need to keep you safe? I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, did stress push a soldier over the edge? A sergeant on his 3rd tour in Iraq is charged with murdering 5 other U.S. soldiers.
We just snapped, or I don't know, because it's not like him.
And MPs run wild. British lawmakers stick taxpayers with a bill for everything from feeding their cats to cleaning their moats.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. When you climb aboard an airplane, you want to believe the pilots are fully trained and doing everything they're supposed to do. But tonight, a troubling picture is emerging of what was going on inside the cockpit of the Continental commuter plane that crashed near Buffalo, New York in February. The NTSB today released a transcript of the cockpit voice recordings as it opened a hearing into the crash. Nancy Cordes now with the story these transcripts tell.
The transcripts reveal 2 pilots who were deeply engaged in shop talk, even as they came in for a landing. As a matter of fact, I got hired with about 625 flight hours, said the 47-year-old captain. Oh, wow, that's not much for back when you got hired, replied his 24-year-old first officer. The conversation violated a basic flight rule. No non-essential chatter below 10,000 feet.
Keep your head in the game. You always need to have your head in the game.
Especially when flight conditions are poor, as they were that February night. Oh, yeah, it's lots of ice, the first officer noticed, looking out the window. The captain responded, oh, yeah, that's the most I've seen. Most ice I've seen on the leading edges in a long time. In a while, anyway. NTSB sources say the bantering pilots failed to notice the ice-glazed plane was losing airspeed, making it vulnerable to a stall. I've never seen icing conditions. I've never de-iced, the first officer admitted. I've never seen any. I've never experienced any of that. I don't want to have to experience that and make those kinds of calls. You know, I'd have freaked out. I'd have, seen this much ice and thought, oh my gosh, we were going to crash. 5 minutes later, they did crash when, in response to an urgent stall warning, they yanked back on the controls. Pilots are trained to push down instead to pick up speed.
Obviously, the initial reaction to the stall warning was incorrect, and that set the course of action for what followed.
The captain, perhaps realizing the mistake, said, Jesus Christ. The first officer said she put the flaps up and asked if she should put the landing gear up, too. The captain, gear up. He swore and said, we're down. The first officer screamed. It was over in seconds.
50 people were killed, and fatigue may have played a role. The first officer had a cold and had flown in on a red-eye the night before the crash, while the captain spent the night in the crew room in violation of company policy. Katie?
Nancy Cordes, so chilling. Thank you very much. So who is in the cockpit when you fly, especially on a smaller commuter plane? A seasoned pilot or someone who hasn't been properly trained? Ben Tracy now with that part of the story.
When Comair Flight 5191 crashed in Kentucky in 2006, a likely cause of the crash was cited as the flight crew's non-compliance with standard operating procedures. Pilot training is now a growing concern as the number of regional aircraft, smaller planes that are cheaper to fly, takes off. More than 1 in 5 passengers boarding planes in 2008 were on regional jets, a 42% increase since 2003.
That's a real problem in the regional carrier industry. In fact, of all the regional crashes in this century, in the last decade, There were 8, and in 7 of the 8, the NTSB faulted the pilot training and the pilot performance in the cockpit.
To fly commercially, you must have logged a minimum of 1,500 hours of flight time and completed ongoing flight reviews. The captain of the Buffalo flight reportedly logged nearly 3,500 total flight hours before the crash, but most were on a much smaller twin-engine turboprop. Overall, regional pilots have less experience and are paid much less than big jet pilots.
You think of the regional aircraft as stepping stones to the majors. Everybody wants to make more money, and the big airlines pay the most money.
The 47-year-old captain of the Buffalo plane failed test flights 5 times. His flight instructor told investigators, "I noticed Captain Renslow wasn't exactly the quickest learning I've had in the airplane." Yet Renslow still met the FAA's requirements.
But they have to understand, and everyone needs to understand, that the FAA trainings are minimums.
And in the past, pilots far exceeded them. In the 1970s, 85% of all commercial airline pilots came from the military, having already logged thousands of flight hours. Now less than 25% come from the military. Captain Sully Sullenberger, who deftly landed his plane on the Hudson River this winter, says experience matters.
If we do not sufficiently value the airline piloting profession and future pilots are less experienced and less skilled, it logically follows that we will see negative consequences to the flying public.
Unfortunately, it's hard for passengers to know just how experienced their pilot is before boarding the plane because training records are generally not public. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Meanwhile, up in space, Atlantis continues on its way to the Hubble telescope for a complicated repair job. But today, back on Earth, NASA scientists are discussing what to do about some damaged tiles on the shuttle's heat shield. As Daniel Seberg reports, the crew discovered them during an inspection today.
Like a dentist searching for a cavity, a camera on the boom arm of Atlantis found a string of nicks about 21 inches long on the underwing of the shuttle. The damage came from the insulating foam separating from the external fuel tank during launch. It happened at 106 seconds, critical because debris strikes with greater force early in the launch. NASA says the severity is likely not serious.
It certainly doesn't look like it's going to be an issue for us.
A far more serious debris strike on a very sensitive part of the wing is what crippled Columbia's heat shield in 2003, causing it to break up during re-entry, killing all 7 astronauts on board. NASA has since implemented new inspection and repair procedures that can be done in space. And for the first time, just in case a rescue is needed, a second shuttle sits on the launch pad in Florida. Daniel Seberg, CBS News, New York.
Bill Harwood is our CBS News space consultant. Bill, what impact, if any, will this development have on the mission?
It's a little bit too soon to say, Katie. They could decide to do what they call a focused inspection, where they go take a little bit closer look. If they did that, they would do it during the preparations for their 5th and final spacewalk to work on the Hubble telescope. So I don't anticipate any impact on the mission itself.
This is being called one of the riskiest repair jobs ever performed in orbit. What exactly makes it so dangerous?
It's really 2 things, Katie, and I think we have to keep in mind it's relative danger. All shuttle flights are dangerous. But at the Hubble's high altitude, there's a slightly better chance of impact from space debris. And also, when you think about what the astronauts are doing on Hubble, they're going to try to get into the guts of 2 of these big electronic instruments, replace circuit boards. There's sharp edges in there, things like that. They've done a lot of training to make sure they don't have any problems, but it is a little bit more risky than usual.
As you mentioned, there will be spacewalks, 5 in all, to install new equipment and make those repairs, and it will cost $1 billion. Why is the Hubble telescope so important?
You know, Katie, this is one of the most successful satellites NASA has ever launched. It's certainly one of the most scientifically productive. It's really become a national icon if you think about it. The pictures from Hubble are in everything from college textbooks to kindergarten books. It has revolutionized optical astronomy, and if they can be successful on this mission, they're going to extend this flight 5 more years for Hubble, almost a quarter of a century.
Fascinating stuff. Bill Harwood, thanks so much. To other news now, and that tragedy in Iraq. Today, the Army identified the American soldier who went on a deadly rampage and charged him with the murder of 5 other U.S. service members. Sergeant John Russell, a 44-year-old Texan, had been in the military 20 years. Among the victims, Navy Commander Charles Springle, a licensed clinical social worker. Sergeant Russell was on his 3rd tour of duty in Iraq, and Bob Orr tells us there were signs he was in trouble.
His commanders feared Sergeant John Russell was on the edge. So they took away his weapon and ordered him to counseling at a combat stress clinic in Baghdad. He went there yesterday, officials say, and opened fire, killing 5 fellow service members.
He's got medals, and he was doing good for the country.
Today, at their home in Sherman, Texas, Russell's 20-year-old son struggled to understand how his dad, on his 3rd tour of duty in Iraq, now faces 5 counts of murder.
For him to do something like that, he couldn't have been in his right state of mind. They had to put him to a breaking point, and he just had to have lost it. Just lost all train of thought to do anything like that.
Russell's father said he may have snapped, fearing his military career could be ended by a stress diagnosis.
His life was over as far as he's concerned. He's going to lose everything. And I guess it was too much.
Military investigators don't know what triggered the shootings, but say Russell was agitated when he was asked to leave the clinic after arguing with a counselor. A short time later, Russell returned to the stress center with a weapon he apparently stole from his armed escort. The rampage played out quickly.
The suspect was apprehended outside the clinic shortly after shots were heard.
The incident is the deadliest involving soldier-on-soldier violence in the 6-year Iraq War. In response, the Army now has launched an investigation to determine if it needs more people and facilities in war zones to deal with combat stress and soldiers on the brink.
And these are the canaries in the mine. And if we don't start addressing these issues, people are going to get more and more injured, and it's going to be harder to treat them.
For Sergeant Russell, who had planned to be home by July, it's too late.
He's heartbroken. His mother's hiding in there crying. We're sorry for the families involved, too, because they're going through heartache.
His family says they knew of no warning signs. Russell, in fact, recently emailed his son on his birthday, and just Sunday emailed his mother for Mother's Day. Katie?
Bob Orr reporting in Washington tonight. Thank you. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, virtual colonoscopy. It can stop colon cancer in its tracks. Why Medicare won't pay for it.
How can you get back pain relief that lasts up to 16 hours? With ThermaCare heat wraps. That's 8 hours while you wear it, plus an additional 8 hours of relief after you take it off. ThermaCare delivers heat that penetrates deep, warming the muscle right where it hurts to relax, soothe, and unlock tight muscles for lasting pain relief.
Even after I took ThermaCare off, my back stayed loose for the next day. It allows me to move side to side without pain.
My muscles feel like this, and then after the heat gets really deep, my muscles do feel loose.
ThermaCare works differently. While some other pain relief patches and creams may feel warm, they're really not.
With this, I can feel the heat going deep, deep inside of the muscles.
The warmth is so deep, the relaxation so profound, took the pain away.
So if you've got pain, go to trythermacare.com for a $3 off coupon and start using ThermaCare today. And get up to 16 hours of pain relief with ThermaCare.
Roundup Extended Control does 2 jobs at once. 1, kills weeds to the root. 2, forms a barrier, preventing new ones for up to 4 months. Roundup Extended Control.
I'd had my fill. Then I found Miralax. Miralax relieves constipation with no bloating, no excess gas, no taste, no grit. You'll see, it's clearly different.
Restore your body's natural rhythm with Miralax.
Are you and your gray hair facing an identity crisis?
My hair says experience. My hair says energy.
Touch of Gray. The best of both combs away a little gray, never too much, just right.
Now I look like I know what I'm doing and can still do it.
Touch of Gray.
Bush's baked beans.
Jay, it's Grandpa Bush. Let Duke sell Bush's secret family recipe.
Nice try, Duke.
How'd you know it was me?
Grandpa didn't have a tail.
Oops.
Enjoy Bush's baked beans made with our secret family recipe.
Rebuilding America's economy will take energy from all sources. And here's some good news. Increased production of domestic oil and natural gas will also create well-paying jobs, drive our 21st century economy, and generate more than $1 trillion for federal, state, and local budgets. Money for better schools, public safety, and community needs. Maybe that's why most people support putting more of America's oil and natural gas to work. For Americans. Log on to learn more.
In medical news tonight, colon cancer is the second leading cancer killer of men and women in this country. Every year, 14 million Americans get a traditional colonoscopy, a procedure Medicare will pay for. Another option is something called a virtual colonoscopy. But today, Medicare decided it will not pay for that screening method. Here's our medical correspondent, Dr. John LaPook.
The government's rejection of the latest high-tech approach was a big disappointment to many advocates of colon cancer prevention.
The American Cancer Society believes that virtual colonoscopy or CT colonography ought to be available as one of several options for colon cancer screening.
In traditional colonoscopy, a fiber optic instrument is used to examine the lining of the colon and remove polyps. In virtual colonoscopy, images of the colon are generated by a non-invasive body scan. Both have a similar detection rate for significant polyps. Traditional colonoscopy usually costs at least twice as much. The government maintains that the evidence is inadequate to conclude that virtual colonoscopy is an appropriate colorectal cancer screening test. One concern is that costs would increase because polyps found by virtual colonoscopy require traditional colonoscopy to remove them. But advocates say reaching more people is worth the added expense.
Right now, about 40% of people over the age of 50 are getting any kind of screening for colon cancer. We believe if virtual colonoscopy were more available, more people would be screened and more lives would be saved.
The American Cancer Society says it will urge Medicare to reconsider as more evidence is gathered about the usefulness of virtual colonoscopy, Katie.
And John, I know there had been some questions about the efficacy of virtual colonoscopies. Have those been laid to rest now?
Katie, I think they really have been laid to rest. A traditional colonoscopy is very effective, and it's better at finding subtle polyps, those flat polyps that can be hard to find on a virtual colonoscopy. But a virtual colonoscopy is a very good test. It picks up about 90% of significant polyps. And for somebody who's thinking of getting a traditional colonoscopy but is ducking it because they're afraid of the procedure, a virtual colonoscopy is a lot better than doing nothing.
Absolutely, and the bottom line is people need to be screened.
It could really save your life.
All right, John LaPook. John, thank you so much. And officials tonight say both Medicare and Social Security are under more stress because of the recession. The latest trustees report shows Medicare is due to run out of money in just 8 years. Social Security, 20 years later. Now, this doesn't mean the programs would shut down. It does mean, though, they would be paying more in benefits than they're taking in taxes. When we come back, 1 year after China's devastating earthquake, families are still demanding to know who's to blame for the massive loss of life.
Applebee's introduces Real Burgers. A real burger takes both hands. A real burger requires lots of napkins and sometimes a sleeve. A real burger is real at first bite. Introducing Real Burgers, only at Applebee's. Made fresh, slammed with flavor, and stacked high with the stuff you love most. Real fresh, real deal, real burgers. Get Real Burgers only at Applebee's. It's a whole new neighborhood.
At first, it was a relief to know what was wrong. Whew, diabetes, is that all? And then all of a sudden, I was like, huh? I felt amazingly boxed in. Anything to make it easier means you're making my life easier.
Joe simplifies his life with the Contour Meter from Bayer, the only meter that's easily personalized. And now, with Bayer's new Simple Saver program, save up to $360 a year on testing supplies. And that's a simple win. Make testing more affordable with Bayer. Visit BayerSimpleSaver.com to find out more.
Tim, nobody ever asked me what I want to be when I grow up. Maybe it's your name. Richard? No, Smucker.
When your last name is Smucker and you live in Orville, everyone knows what you'll do when you grow up. You're going to make the world's best jam.
I love jam.
For 5 generations, with a name like Smucker's, it has to be good.
In backyards just like yours, Scott's researchers tested our new Songbird Selections wild bird food and discovered something amazing. Scott's attracted twice as many colorful birds as ordinary blends. Our exclusive formula attracted twice the cardinals, twice the goldfinches, twice the indigo buntings. New Songbird Selections from Scott's.
People we rely on in the morning can laxative tablets overnight. They give you predictable overnight relief to help get you feeling like yourself again in the morning. Dulcolax laxative tablets keep you moving.
It's a revolution in pain relief.
The new Icy Hot Medicated Roll. Take what you need for shoulders, backs, joints, even arthritis. Medicated relief gets icy to dull pain, hot to relax it away. The new Icy Hot Medicated Roll.
With the roll, pain's under control.
He's been pursued by Nazi hunters for more than 30 years, and today a former auto worker from Cleveland arrived in Germany to face charges. John Demjanjuk was taken to prison in an ambulance. He's accused of being a guard at a Nazi death camp and aiding in the murders of 29,000 prisoners. Demjanjuk, who is 89, was stripped of his U.S. citizenship and could face 15 years in prison if convicted. In China, mourning was mixed with anger today on the anniversary of that devastating earthquake. 90,000 people were killed, 5.5 million homes collapsed. In all, 21 million buildings were damaged. And 1 year later, survivors still want to know who's to blame for the heavy toll. More now from Celia Hatton in Sichuan province.
China fell silent today, marking 1 year since a 7.9 magnitude earthquake rocked the country's central Sichuan province. But still, the government won't answer why thousands of schools collapsed while nearby buildings stayed intact. At least 5,300 children were killed. The real total is thought to be far higher. The school disaster was man-made, charges Jian Shaoqi. He lost his teenage daughter when her classroom caved in, seconds after the first tremor. Teacher Jian is a hero to dozens of students he helped to escape. But he still mourns the death of his daughter, the only child his family was allowed under strict population control policies. I want a full investigation, he says, believing, like many, that corrupt builders cut corners while officials looked the other way. One study showed 65% of schools were damaged beyond repair in the quake, compared to just 13% of government offices.
It didn't take long for thousands of grieving parents, previously average, law-abiding people, to morph into some of the Chinese government's most fearless critics.
The government has made the issue taboo, raising tensions in the quake zone. CBS News was questioned by Sichuan police while reporting this story. Other foreign journalists were assaulted. And several quake activists are in prison, leaving artist Ai Weiwei to lead a campaign to list the name of every child victim out of respect for the dead. He's famous for designing Beijing's Olympic Stadium. Now, many are surprised he hasn't been arrested.
We have to force the government to be more honest.
Even if the rubble is mostly cleared, it's still possible to decipher construction errors using blueprints and photos, says architect Shen Hongjiao. Buildings should never totally disintegrate, he argues. The government is trying to move past the controversy. It's paying approximately $9,000 in compensation for each child in a place where the average salary totals just $700 a year. The government's also subsidizing fertility treatments so parents can conceive again. But even a bittersweet baby boom won't erase the pain of losing an entire generation inside their schools. Places parents once assumed were safe. Celia Hatton, CBS News, Mianyang, China.
The American journalist who spent more than 3 months in an Iranian prison says she'll be coming home to the U.S. within a few days. Roxana Saberi was convicted of spying for the U.S. American officials called the charges bogus, and yesterday an appeals court ordered her release. Today she spoke with reporters in Tehran.
I want to thank all the people all over the world, which I'm just finding out about, really, who, whether they knew me or not, helped me and my family during this period.
And we'll be right back.
Hot waffles. The smell of warm maple syrup.
You know the smell after it rains? That's it.
Whatever scents fill your household, Tidy Cat Scoop neutralizes the odors of multiple cats. New Tidy Cat Scoop. Keep home smelling like home.
Robert Shapiro. Over 1 million people have discovered how easy it is to use LegalZoom for important legal documents. So start your business, protect your family, launch your dreams. At LegalZoom.com, we put the law on your side.
Going 3 times a night? I'm used to it. Time out.
Wearing pads just in case? I don't mind it much.
Time out. Are you really going to put up with overactive bladder forever? Talk to your doctor and give the coping a time out.
Red Lobster is bringing you new entrees inspired by the Mediterranean. From the wood grill, try lobster and jumbo shrimp with a garlic cream sauce. Or wood grilled shrimp and scallops. Ending soon at Red Lobster.
People we rely on in the morning can rely on Dulcolax laxative tablets overnight. So when people are counting on you, count on Dulcolax laxative tablets the night before. They give you predictable overnight relief to help get you feeling like yourself again in the morning. And they're gentle on your stomach because they're comfort coated. No wonder people who need to be somewhere in the morning take Dulcolax laxative tablets the night before. Dulcolax laxative tablets. Keep you moving.
When morning comes in the middle of the night, it affects your entire day. To get a good night's sleep, try 2-layer Ambient CR. The first layer dissolves quickly to help you fall asleep. And unlike other sleep aids, a second dissolves slowly to help you stay asleep. When taking Ambient CR, don't drive or operate machinery. Sleepwalking and eating or driving while not fully awake with memory loss for the event, as well as abnormal behaviors such as being more outgoing or aggressive than normal, confusion, agitation, and hallucinations may occur. Don't take it with alcohol as it may increase these behaviors. Allergic reactions such as shortness of breath, swelling of your tongue or throat may occur and in rare cases may be fatal. Side effects may include next-day drowsiness, dizziness, and headache. In patients with depression, worsening of depression, including risk of suicide, may occur. If you experience any of these behaviors or reactions, contact your doctor immediately. Wake up ready for your day. Ask your healthcare provider for 2-layer Ambient CR.
In the middle of lunch, a student arrested for carrying a loaded gun. How police were tipped off to the threat inside this local school tonight at 11.
And finally tonight, politicians have often been accused of taking advantage, but then billing taxpayers for it. In a huge political scandal in Britain, Mark Phillips tells us lawmakers have been sticking the public with the tab for fertilizer and a whole lot more.
If you listen carefully around the country estates of some British members of Parliament, you can almost hear the sound of barnyard animals chomping at the public trough. But it's not animals, it's the MPs themselves. One actually charged for clearing out his moat, several for cleaning their swimming pools, one for repairing his tennis court. The MPs are allowed to claim for having 2 homes, one in their constituencies and one in London, but now they've been caught playing, some say fiddling, the expenses game, claiming tens of thousands of dollars, not just on moats and chandeliers and tennis courts, but on the square called Anything Goes, putting in for light bulbs, cat food, a ride-on lawnmower, and horse manure. For the garden, one presumes, not the accountants.
The whole political class is getting spattered by this muck, and so it's not one party or the other. Everybody seems to have been up to this.
On the square called flipping, they've been refurbishing properties with public money and then selling them on at a profit. One MP claimed for buying an apartment in this building, but he already has his own family home very close by. How close? Let's find out. At a steady walking pace, even allowing for a red light, it's not very far at all. Right, so let's see, it is 4 minutes and 33 seconds, for which the taxpayer paid about $50,000. So the other sound you now hear is of contrition from the Prime Minister.
I want to apologize on behalf of politicians, on behalf of all parties.
From the Leader of the Opposition.
When I read the swimming pools, the moats, I am completely appalled.
So he's making his MPs give the money back. Winning back public trust won't be so simple. Mark Phillips, CBS News, London.
And that is the CBS Evening News for tonight. I'm Katie Couric. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Get ready for Founders Days at Fred Meyer. It's the biggest and best sale of the year with amazing buys throughout the store. Get grilling with beef ribeye steaks or colossal prawns, just $4.88 a pound during Founders Days at Fred Meyer.
Okay. All right.
No, not my wife. Yours. Feels like mine. I talk to her enough. And I think she knows I'm lying. Look, you're a great guy, but when you're playing, you're different. And it sure doesn't seem like you're having much fun. No, you can't borrow $10. Again? Come on, dude. Do you really want to be that guy?
Need help with a gambling problem? Call 877-MY-LIMIT. Treatment is free, confidential, and it works.
Get ready for Founders Days at Fred Meyer. It's the biggest and best sale of the year with amazing buys throughout the store. Get our lowest price on a Samsung 40-inch LCD flat screen TV, just $699.99 during Founders Days at Fred Meyer.
You could win an all-new Chevy Camaro. See your participating Northwest Chevy dealer for details.